Hey, what's up, everyone? I'm Sade. Thank y'all so much for joining me for my podcast, Hidden Alchemy Podcast by Sade. For today's episode, we are diving into the theme of decide who you want to be. Now, I came up with this theme topic after having a really good conversation with my sister. I have a younger sister, my Pisces opposite, and really just guiding her through that process of after graduating undergrad, figuring out what exactly you want to do, what choices are good, what choices are bad. And I really just told her, whatever it is you want to do, just make that decision and just do it. So I wanted to bring that on as a podcast topic because I think it's something that you can really experience at any age of feeling stuck, of feeling a little confused, and really of feeling like there's a lack of guidance and a lack of clarity in terms of what you want to do, where you want to be, and who you want to be. And what has worked for me has really been my deep, curious mind. I've always been a curious soul since I could remember. And I've always been very bold with my curiosity and allowed myself to really explore the world, explore people. I lived in 3 different continents by the age of 25. I speak another language, I speak Mandarin. So I've always allowed my curiosity to lead. And through allowing that curiosity to lead, I was able to find what things I liked, what things I didn't like, and what things I really felt the most drawn to. And whenever I found something that I felt the most drawn to, I made a decision if I was going to engage, if I was going to become a professional in that industry. And I really just made the intuitive, heartfelt decision of deciding what I wanted, deciding who I wanted to be, and only focusing on being to become. And that's something that a dance mentor of mine told me back in the day, and I could not grasp it at the time when she told me. But she said, don't become, just be. Don't try, just do. And that's really the same notion of decide who you want to be and just be it, right? We think that we need to have so much criteria before we can become something. And that's just really what society tells you. But all you have to really do is step into it and be it. And you will become by being, by walking in that truth. And for me, what worked was my curiosity. But there's so many ways that you can really take some time to harness and figure out who you are, what you want to do, and how you want to go about life and the things that you want to do. And something I really try to tell my sister is there's really no right or wrong. It just is what it is. Now, of course, in the grand scheme, yes, there are things that we know are logically right and logically wrong. But when you're figuring things out and you're trying to figure out what do you want to do and who you are and what you stand for, honestly, allowing space for change to happen, allowing space for transformation to happen, and allowing that curiosity. Because how you might feel now about what you want to do is might be completely different than how you might feel about who you are and what you want to do 10, 15, 20 years from now. And that's definitely something else that has really been important in my evolution and understanding myself and who I am is allowing space for transformation to take place, allowing space for change. What I find so often is in a lot of people, especially now that I'm in my 30s, I find that people get so caught up and stuck on who they were before and don't really allow life to show them the different layers that they have. And this really plays a key role in being unhappy and feeling unsatisfied and feeling stuck and feeling like you don't know who you are. When the reality is, you do know who you are. You are just deciding not to be it because of what you might have stood for before. And that's something that has really helped me in my own evolution. And something that I usually tell my sister a lot is allow life to happen. What you might want now and who you might decide to be now might be different in the next 10 to 15 years, but just be present in whatever it is that you want now and know that it doesn't have to be the same exact thing as you evolve and as you transform. Now, another great way of really figuring out who you are and what you want to do is through isolation and through a meditation practice. And this is also something I had to learn at a very young age, okay? I feel like God put me in a lot of situations where I had to, where I was a part of a group and then had to learn how to walk away and be on my own. And that is something that is so important, because a lot of times we like to be a part of groups and we like to follow the group. And I love being in groups, but a lot of times when you're a part of a group, you sometimes don't really know what your thoughts are for yourself as opposed to what the group needs. And I was always thrown in situations where I wanted to be a part of a team, I wanted to be a part of a group, I wanted to be a part of something, and then there were things being done that went against what I stood for. And I had to make that decision and say, you know what? This does not sit well with me. This is not what I stand for. So I have to walk away alone. And I had to learn at a very young age how to be a social loner, I would say. I'm such a social person. I have so many acquaintances, but I have a very, very small circle of friends. And because I am a person that enjoys doing my own thing and I don't really allow people to tell me who I am and what I need to be doing and what I should be doing, I've always had this energy of being a social loner. And I've had to learn how to be that at a very young age, so that now that I am in my adulthood and I am a business owner and I am leading in these different spaces, I know how to stand on my own and stand on what I believe in and walk in that truth. There's so many times that we're so focused on being a part of a group that we don't know how to be in our own truth. And when we have to be alone and walk in that truth, even if you have to walk alone, there's been so many times where I've had to walk in my truth alone. Okay? No team next to me, by myself. But it meant me standing true in who I am, making that decision of who I am, and staying true to myself despite the thoughts and the comments and the critiques of everyone else around me. And that's very important. And being isolated and developing a meditation practice is what's going to really help you to understand who you are and make that decision of who you are. Because at the end of the day, everything is a choice in life. Everything is a choice in life. And when you understand that notion, you don't allow other people to dictate your life or dictate who you are. You make that decision of, no, this is who I am, this is what I stand for, and this is how I want to move and operate in the world. And then you commit to that. That's another aspect of deciding who you are, is making that commitment and knowing that there is no ceiling. There's no ceiling. And that's one thing for me growing up as a kid. I never thought that there was a ceiling for anything that I can do. And I think that it really is because of my parents that I view things that way, because my parents, anything that they wanted for themselves, they obtained. And I watched that, especially in their career and even in their social life, even what they wanted for their kids, they obtained that. And me watching that in my parents, I just took on that same notion of anything that I want. If I make that decision that this is what I want, that this is who I am, this is where I'm going, then I'm going to obtain that. And because I've always felt that intuitively, I move in that truth. And that's usually what ends up happening. I think about what I want, I move towards that, and I obtain it. Is it easy? No. But it's this belief that we are limited or we are less worthy that I feel keeps a lot of us from obtaining the things that we want and really just being in our truth and being who we are. And I believe that everyone is worthy of whatever life they want to live. And there's no limit or ceiling to anything because life is abundant, right? When you look at the sky, you cannot see where the sky ends. When you look at the ocean, you cannot see where the ocean ends. That is how abundant life is. So there is no limiting belief for me in what I can do, who I can be, and what I can accomplish. And I've always felt that way from when I was a kid, and I've just grown deeper and deeper into that truth. Now, another thing that has helped me understand on a deeper level of who I am and making those choices of who I am and how I want to move in the world is my meditation practice. Meditation, hands down, is going to show you who you are because it's showing you your own thoughts. It's showing you how you feel. It's showing you those things that are in the subconscious mind that you thought that you forgot about, but nope, it's still seeped up in there and it's still creeping up in there for you to pull it back to the surface and realize that it is a part of your truth. And that's what a meditation practice does. It helps you to understand who you are and to connect to a higher level of consciousness. Now, once you connect to that higher level of consciousness, then you realize that nothing is outside of you, everything is within you. And therefore, there are no limits to what you can accomplish. And therefore, you are your biggest asset. Once you understand that through your meditation practice, that's when you can decide who you are, because you already know. You already know. Your meditation practice is going to guide you back to that answer of self, of who you've always been. But because of life, we have all of these systems and these social constructs and cultural rules, all of these things that we place on ourselves. A meditation practice helps you to peel those layers back and really see yourself for who you are, for the truth of who you are, for the power that you embody, and for the limitlessness that you obtain, that we all actually obtain and have within our auric field. So through a meditation practice, I have been able to really know who I am on a deep spiritual level, having nothing to do with the materialistic world. Now, I love the materialistic world and I love, having things in the materialistic world, but I understand myself on a deeper level and I can make that decision of, no, this is who I am, this is how I operate, and this is how I'm going to move. And it really is in that truth of, once you decide who you are, where you're going and what you're doing, that choice has to start with you. And then everything is going to align for that truth to manifest itself. The power is really on us. And that is something that isolation, a meditation practice, really helps you hone in on, is the power has always been within you. All you have to do is decide. Make that decision. Who am I? What do I want? Where do I want to go? And that worthiness, like really deeply feeling worthy of what you want. And even when you meditate as if you've already accomplished what you want, or you already have what you want, or you already are who you want to be. And feel how that sensation feels in your body. Meditate on that sensation. Allow that sensation to really take over completely. And that is the sensation that you are vibrating through your entire being. So when you walk outside into the world and you are meeting the universe with this energy of I am, then the universe is going to give you all of that back, because you've already made that decision. So when deciding who you are, is really understanding that that personal power is always within you. No one outside of you can tell you who you are. No one outside of you can tell you what you think, what you should think, what you ought to think. But you have to take that time in isolation by yourself so that you can really figure out who you are, right? Sometimes you got to walk away from the group. You got to be alone so you can understand who you are, besides who you are when you're around other people. Because the reality is, when we are around other people, we have to have compromise. We have to have more balance. But when you take time to isolate, it's really understanding the rawness of who you've always been and stepping into that truth with courage, with confidence, and with faith that everything that you want for yourself, you are worthy of receiving and you will manifest. But if you don't believe that, if you don't walk in that truth, then you'll never be able to receive the abundance that really truly is your birthright, which is everyone's birthright. At least that's what I believe. I believe abundance is everyone's birthright, especially my birthright. And that's how I choose to walk into the world, believing that I am abundant, knowing that I am abundant, and knowing that I am worthy of receiving more abundance. That's how I walk in the world, and that's how things happen. So leaving everyone on this note of, the world is so big and there are so many things that you can do, so many people that you can be, so many places that you can go. Do not sell yourself short. Do not play yourself small. Dream big. And that's something that really works for me a lot of times, is this borderline of delusion and reality, where I see the reality, but I also believe in my visions, believe in my dreams. I wouldn't have these visions if it wasn't for me to believe in them. And when I believe in my visions and I believe in my dreams, I allow space for the unexpected to take place and for my true hopes and desires to manifest. But it's deciding that yes, you are worthy of that dream. You are worthy of that vision. So dream big, envision big, and then make that decision that you're going to move from that truth and you will become by simply just being. Thank y'all so much for joining me for our podcast episode on Decide Who You Want to Be. My name is Sade, and I will see you for our next episode.